layout that I made. It's not exactly the greatest layout, but we be indie just like Stay of the Game. So Stay of the Game can get away with it, so can I. Anyways, so let me introduce you guys to what this is. This is going to be balance battles. Balance battles is an idea I had since, I was getting really bored. I wanted to cast more Collegiate Star League games for Purdue University, but we kind of ran out of games to cast since we weren't in the season anymore. So I decided to start this up. And what this is basically trying to balance the game a little bit so that a Bronze League player can play against a Masters League player, can play against a Diamond League player, can play against a Platinum League player, and still have a kind of fun and even match. And what that will involve is applying some handicaps over to some of the higher league players when they're facing the lower league players. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the first game. This game, I've already picked out both of these two players. We have Being, a Protoss player that's a Diamond level player, versus Makomi, a Masters level player, who's also Protoss. But actually no, it looks like he's going to be going random, so that's going to be a fun little surprise. It looks like he wants to handicap himself a little bit further, even though his most played race is Protoss. So anyways, what that means is you can see on this list over here is that the exact wording of it is you must kill as many of your own workers as minutes have passed for any attacks outside of your base before leaving. So what that means is Makomi is going to have to kill off as many workers as minutes have passed. So if 3 minutes have passed and he wants to go attack, he has to kill off 3 of his workers. If 20 minutes have passed, he has to kill off 20 of his workers. And obviously this does not apply to doing something like a probe scout or sending out an observer. He can still scout, but he's not allowed to scout with attacking units. So if everyone's ready, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Any other questions I can answer in the chat? Gonna wait for the chat to catch up. Can he just send 7 probes with his attack? No, you have to kill off your workers before you actually move out. So it has to be right before you move out. And for the sake of simplicity, we're also rounding down the number. So if it's 7 minutes and 40 seconds, it's going to be 7 probes or whatever else. Anyways, looks like we're going to go ahead and get started. The players are ready. Are you guys ready in chat? I speak to the chat even though my camera's over here. Alright, looks good. Let's go ahead and get this started. Gonna have the good luck, have fun from all these players. And the map is going to be Metalopolis. I said in the post that this actually is going to just be randomly picking different ladder maps. So sorry if you get stuck with a map that you aren't a fan of, but that's just the way it goes. Don't worry too much about it, try and have fun. So this is going to be Being versus Makomi. We're going to have to see where these two players spawn on Metalopolis. So again, Makomi has to start killing off his workers if he decides to, or when he does decide to move out to attack. So that's really going to have to shift his way that he plays the game. But we'll get to that strategy in a second. First, in the left-hand side of Metalopolis, we have the purple Terran that went from random, and this is going to be Makomi. And we're not going to have anyone in the bottom corner because it looks like we're actually having a bit of a strange game leave. So if you hold that thought, we're going to go ahead and get this sorted out. Figure out what exactly happened. Oh, it looks like Being's keyboard wasn't quite working. It's okay, it happens. So we're going to go ahead and just really quickly remake the game. And I really do wish that Blizzard would update their searching ability. Oh god. Oh, yeah, got the right map. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and invite the players. Oop, I'm on the wrong screen. Alright, and we can get a okay that the players are in fact ready. And it looks like we're good to go. So one more time. We're going to start this game off. Makomi versus Being on Metalopolis. Now, Makomi is random. Last time we did see him end up as Terran. But this time, who knows what he's going to be. So let's see if he ends up being as Protoss, which is his most played race in his profile. Playing his most played race in his profile, being Protoss. So, it looks like we're going to have the exact same matchup, different map positions. So, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, in the bottom side of Metalopolis this time, we have, once again, the same color, Terran, Makomi. And his opponent, the diamond level player. Up here in the top side of Metalopolis, we have, I think it's like a pink. I think it's a pink. It's a pink eyeshadow. We have the Protoss player, Being. And he's going to be very happy knowing that his opponent is going to have to kill off a couple of his workers if he does decide to move out. Looks like we're going to go ahead and get this game started with pretty normal looking builds. I did not change XSplit. Okay, sorry guys. Thanks for the notifications. This is why I'm allowing whispers for this actually. Anyways, we do see pretty normal stuff going on. We can see here Makomi spawning in the bottom side of Metalopolis, while his opponent, the diamond level player, is spawning in the top side. So Makomi being the Masters League player, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and start making that barracks. Everything looking to be very standard play. Being actually going for the 13 gateway in this Protoss versus Terran. Although he does not know that his opponent is Terran, I think that he's going to feel pretty comfortable going for that 13 gateway rather than the slightly less economical 12 gateway, just knowing that his opponent really can't move out to attack all that easily. And this is really just goes to show the kind of stuff that you can pull off in this game. Because you know your opponent can't very easily move out, you can take those kind of risks. You can do something like go for a very fast expansion. I'd actually really like to see Being go for some kind of 1-gate expansion. But it looks like Makomi not quite scouting this out yet, so he's going to go ahead and scout out to the top now. Meanwhile, Being already getting that first assimilator, so he's going to start mining gas out of there, reduce it to cybernetics core. So we don't see anything really fast, like a 15 Nexus, but I really wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a 1-gate expand from Being. He is a diamond level player, so clearly has a good level of comprehension on different builds you can do, and he does now know what exactly the race is of Makomi, so he's probably going to feel pretty comfortable doing a 1-gateway expand. Now we do see a reactor coming down, as well as this gas being taken from Makomi, so wouldn't be too surprised if we were seeing some kind of 3 racks pressure. Maybe a tech lab coming up from the next barracks. And we're going to have to see exactly how Makomi decides to play this out, as you do have to recall, he is going to have to kill off a lot of his workers, so that's going to put him into a very all-in state. We can see here, at the minute counter, we already are in 4 minutes, so by the time that Makomi is likely going to be able to push out with any substantial number of units, he's probably going to be at the 6, maybe 7 minute timer, so he's going to have to kill off 7 of his currently 18 SCVs, and he is producing more, so that is going to be a little less of his percentage of his economy than right now, but we're going to have to see how much damage he can do with that pressure. Now we do see the 1-gateway expand down for Being. He is going to go ahead and add on a couple gateways. We're going to have to see if he decides to go for some kind of robotics facility. A robotics facility would really help to get out those Immortals to deal with those Marauders. The Immortals do so much damage to the Marauders. And you know, again, Being just has to make sure he can hold off this pressure. And I do like this poke by Being, taking a little bit extra damage past. Oh no, might actually lose. Okay. Oh! Wow, great play from Makomi, using the Marines on the high ground to snipe off the running away Stalker. Stalker being a little bit careless, running a little bit too close to that edge and ends up losing its life. But, you know, the important thing is he did get a very solid count on how many units Makomi did have. And he does have that robotics facility on the way, so he will likely have an Immortal out. If he does use that Chrono Boost, we're going to have to see exactly when Makomi does decide to push. Probably not going to push until Stim finishes researching. And it looks like there are the SCVs. Going to start killing them off. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, and 6. And, yep, 6 SCV kills for the 6-minute timer. And now we do see the push moving out. Stim will probably be close to completion by the time he gets here. Although it is actually still another 50 seconds. But hey, 50 seconds, that's not too bad. This Immortal will be out in about 50 seconds. If Being can just hold off, he can probably maybe hold this off and potentially come back and win this game, as he does have his natural up. And we can see here the unit counting station again, as my co-caster Curtis, in case I'll go into that later, but he did say 19 versus 31 workers. That's going to be a huge difference. Would actually like to see Being maybe pull some pros, but oh no, I think that Being got a little bit supply blocked. Oh no, that's terrible, but that hopefully will not stop him from holding us off. The Stalker's getting warped in, but they don't get to do as much damage. The Immortal a little bit late. Now the Pro's being pulled a little bit late. The Stalker is going to get Focus Fire down probably very soon. A couple Zealots getting warped in. These units are using Stim though, and they don't have any medevacs, so that means that this push is going to have a really hard time. We don't see any reinforcements coming on the map, so wow, these units are going to be so low on health. If Being can somehow, by some miracle, hold this off. We do see the pro count dwindling though. It's going to be so hard for him to come back, even though he will have a second Nexus to make stuff out of him, and I don't think he can come back from this. He's down to just 9 workers, and wouldn't be too surprised to see GG, even though all of these units are so dead right now, and Nakomi can't really follow up this push very easily. But you know what? He knows that he's going to go ahead and get his second command center already finished, making some extra unit producing structures. And finally, everything is cleaned up. Again, 20 SCVs to 10 probes. Being is going to have to need a miracle to come back into this game. The one thing he does have going for him is he does have these 2 Nexus already being producing probes. He does have the Chrono Boost ability to maybe try and catch up a little bit. He does have this robotics facility, so he can start getting Colossus once he starts to rebuild his economy a little bit. And most importantly, if Makomi wants to move out, he is going to have to kill off almost 10 of his workers again. So that's actually going to even up the worker count. So Makomi not going to really have the chance to move out. He's going to have to try and build up his economy further than a 10 worker advantage to really get back, or really put on any more pressure. And that is going to give Being a little bit of time. But unfortunately for Being, he does not have an army, so he's going to have to put a little bit of his economy into getting that army as well. So we can see here in the production tab though, we do see medevacs on the way, and those medevacs are going to be so key. We saw in that last push, it got cleaned up eventually by those probes because all of the units for Makomi were so dead. They were all in the red. They were all constantly pricking themselves with those needles to inject that stim pack into them. And, you know, that really does a number on your arm. Eventually you're going to hit a vein that just doesn't work anymore, and you're going to die. So these medevacs will be able to heal up all of those veins. These Marines are going to be very happy about that. And again, we're going to see continual chrono, or I hope that we're seeing continual chrono boost out of the Nexus for Being. And yep, there it is. He's going to continue to chrono boost probes, knowing that he does have to catch up in that worker count. We do see the scouting factory. He's going to get a pretty good idea of what's going on. Hey, if you can't scout with a good Marine or an SCV, well, he can scout with an SCV, but he doesn't want to sacrifice that economy, as he knows he's going to have to kill off any more, or more later anyways. So he's going to go ahead and scout with the factory. Why not? Meanwhile, we do see the SCVs getting killed off. There should have been 11 SCV deaths. So we go here in the unit counting station, and he's down in workers again. So despite how much damage has been done to Being's economy, in that last push, it looks like Makomi had to basically even it up. He does have mules, so that's going to help by a lot. But again, these medevacs and this Marine Marauder push, it's going to be very scary. Being not really having any more Immortals or Colossus or anything, so this time he's going to have a very hard time dealing with this push. I'm not sure if he can hold this off. I think the economic damage from that last push was just a little bit too big. The Zealots moving in. The Marines and the Marauders are doing a good job kiting back and picking off the Zealots. Now with all the Zealots gone, he can move in and start picking off all these Stalkers. The Stalkers are going down. There are so many Marines and Marauders left, and I don't think that Being can hold this off. Mules OP, and there's the GG and the heart from Being. And that's going to put an end to the first game of Balance Battles, with Makomi being the victor. So a very, very fun game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And again, yes, that was a Masters League player versus a Diamond League player. The Masters League player being Makomi. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out another player. So right now, we're going to go ahead and mark this up. I think I have a place to mark this up. Oh, whoops, still wrong screen. So we're going to go ahead and change this up. It looks like right now, Makomi is leading with 1 win. So that means that Makomi is the person to beat in this, guys. You got to beat Makomi if you want to get ahead and basically become the reigning champion of this. Anyways, let's go ahead and randomly pick out another player. So let's see if we can get someone. Okay, I see Anopov and Anopov. Anopov was the first one to respond, so I'm going to go ahead and invite him, as well as Makomi. And this time, I'm just going to pick a random map. Antigua Shipyard. Antigua Shipyard it is. Now, let's see. We do know that Makomi is, in fact, a... Hold on. Oh, shoot. Blizzard, why can you not structure your searches a little bit better? Okay. Looks like... Anopov. Going to be a diamond level random player. Ooh, so that's going to be fun. Looks like we might have a random versus random. So going to go ahead and invite these players into the game, as well as my backup spectator commentator, Curtis, also known as AmaFace. You can go ahead and check out his stream if you're ever interested. He also does commentaries at twitch.tv/AmaFace. But anyways, it looks like it's going to be the same rule one more time. Next time we'll try and get a different league player for, make sure that we get a little bit of variety in what the games end up being. But again, we're going to see a random versus random. It's going to be Masters League versus Diamond. So again, Makomi is going to have to kill off all of his, or a bunch of his workers if he wants to move out. We're going to have to see if he can make it work this time. And we're going to have to see if the players are ready. Looks like they are ready. So let's go ahead and start this game. Yep, there we go. And this map is going to be Antigua Shipyard. A very fun map. This is the Blizzard version, the ladder version of the map. So that does mean there are still those gold minerals in the center. That also means that there is close spawn positions. Or at least not just cross positions. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and let these players load up the map. And then we're going to go ahead and introduce the players. Alright guys, up here in the top left-hand corner of Antigua Shipyard, we have the current reigning champion of balance battles with 1 win and is a Masters level Protoss player, randoming as his race. Here we have Makomi and his opponent, the Diamond level random player, who also random as Protoss, so this is going to be a Protoss versus Protoss. We have the blue Protoss. Can he take down Makomi? Can he use the advantage of being a diamond level player to overcome his opponent? His name is Anopov. Now again, the disadvantage and handicap that Makomi does have is if he wants to move out from his base, he has to kill off as many workers as minutes have passed by in this game. So that means that right now, if Makomi decided to move out with all of his probes, he'd have to kill off 1 of his workers. At the 2-minute mark, he'd have to kill off 2 of his workers. Anyways, we do see a very interesting play from Anopov, planting the pylon on the low ground. So maybe he was hoping that Makomi would spawn as Zerg, looking to do a Forge Fast expand. But we're going to have to see how well that works out. Actually, I really do like this thinking from Anopov. Thinking that, hey, Makomi is going to have a really hard time moving out very early on in this matchup, or in this game, rather. he does have to sacrifice a bit of his economy. So if I can get away with a Forge Fast Expand or some kind of Gateway Expand, hey, I'm going to go for that. Now we do see this probe from Anopop. Oh, actually, yep, looks like he's going to throw down the Nexus. Nexus before Gateway, folks. That's going to be a very risky build, and Makomi does scout out exactly what's going on. Meanwhile, Anopop does know exactly what Makomi is doing as well. We do see that Cybernex core going down. Makomi planting this Gateway over here, as remember, both of them did go random, so he was not sure if this was a Zerg player. So, anyways, we do finally see the Gateway going down. Looks like he's going to start to make a little bit of a wall off. We're going to have to see how well that plays out into Makomi's hands, or if it plays out very well for Anopop. As in Protoss versus Protoss, a wall off can be both helpful and detrimental, depending on the unit composition you have and the unit composition your opponent has. Now, it looks like Anopov scouting around here on the patrol with this probe. He does want to probably make sure that he can see if his opponent decides to do a very fast expansion. But it looks like Makomi instead is going to go for that second gas geyser, so wouldn't be too surprised if we saw some kind of robotics play. I would actually really like to see a robotics play from Makomi, as I think Immortals could really do a number on this wall off. And again, I was talking about this wall off a little bit before, but the reason why it can be just so detrimental is that if your units are behind the wall off, this wall off will act as a choke for your units to walk around it. And of course, that will also apply to your opponent, but if your opponent has the same range units as you, then he can attack the wall off, while your units who are behind the wall off can't attack it. And if you want to get past your own wall off, you're going to have to filter your own units through your own choke. So it can be very difficult to manage. But we do see a Twilight Council coming down from Makomi, so it looks like it's most likely going to be either a Blink Stalker play or a Dark Templar. I'm actually a little bit more inclined to think Dark Templar, just because of that very early second gas geyser. And just the way that this build is looking to shape out, I'm starting to think that it's going to be, in fact, Dark Templar. We're going to see, is it going to plant it? And there is a little bit of a hidden pylon. Where is the... Show me Dark Templar. Oh, no. Looks like it's going to be Blink Stalker. So Makomi probably listening in on this cast and saying, well, screw you, Fear Dragon. I'm going to make Blink Stalkers. Now, these two Blink Stalkers, or just regular Stalkers for now, they have not researched that upgrade quite yet. The Citadel has not taught them exactly the art of jumping through space and time. But those Blink Stalkers do shut down the scouting probe of Anopop. So Anopop is a little bit in the dark in terms of, did Makomi decide to match my expansion, or is he going to put on some huge pressure? And we both know that Makomi is in fact going for that huge pressure. He has 4 gateways down. He does have quite a few probes out. So it does look like eventually he will be able to put on some pressure. And I think that once he does decide to move out, he will kill off a good number of, because he's going to end up killing off maybe 7 or 8 probes. I think he's going to actually be in a very good position, because, oh, it looks like there are the probes getting pulled off. So these are the probes that are going to get killed off. There are exactly 7 of them. So he's going to move out right now, probably going to try and hit a very good timing when Blink finishes. But we do see Anopov moving across the map. He's going to look to put on a little bit of pressure on his own, and now he sees the probes dying from Makomi, but Makomi is going to catch these Stalkers a little bit off guard. Blink is now finished researching, so these Stalkers are going to die. And if Makomi is paying attention, he might be able to pick off this Zealot as well, but it looks like it doesn't even matter if he's paying attention or not. He's just going to be walking across the map, and once he tags the Zelnaga Tower, he's going to be able to see that Zealot and blink forward to pick it off. Does Anopop have any more units? He does have a Forge and some cannons going down. Will it be enough? We can see here in the unit counting station, Anopop is up a good 9 workers. So if he can hold us off, he will be in a good position, especially having that expansion. But it's going to be very tough. The cannon getting focus fire down first by these Blink Stalkers. One Blink Stalker getting Blink back to make sure it doesn't take any damage past the shield. Now the Stalkers moving in, maybe looking to try and get a supply block over on Anopop. But again, we do see some pretty decent Blink Micro coming out from Makomi. But again, these cannons do a lot of damage. They're very cost effective. The probes coming out. Probes getting pulled into PvP is never something you want to do. We can see here the unit counting station. Wow, the probe count is actually lower for Anopop now. And we can already see the Stalker count is also higher for Makomi. So Makomi looking to be in a great position to take this game. Oh, but there's an Immortal! And Makomi does not exactly have a great position to snipe off this Immortal. He's going to have a rough time trying to take on that Immortal. So he's going to actually back out as most of his Stalkers are in the yellow. They have lost a lot of their shields. And Makomi might have been thwarted for just a little bit. He is going to go ahead and retreat. Now we do see that's a robotic facility going down for Makomi, so probably going to be looking to match on that Immortal count or maybe the Colossus count, and meanwhile the Stalkers are going to head all the way back home. So now again, Makomi did kind of even up the worker count a little bit, so it is going to act a little bit as though he did not really lose too much in terms of his workers. But the big changing factor is going to be this expansion. Now that Anapop already has 2 expansions completely completed, Makomi is going to be playing catch up with his expansion and tech a little bit as well, because Anapop did manage to get out that robotics facility. He did manage to get out the Immortal as well. That means that he's going to be even further ahead than Makomi, who just now finishing up that robotics facility, just now getting out that Immortal. Maybe wants to make sure that he can keep an eye on his opponent, doesn't want to get caught off guard by something like Dark Templar, although I'm sure he knows that is not going to be the case anytime in the near future, as, of course, with that pressure at the front, Makomi did get a very good scout out on exactly where Anapop was. He did see the forge, so he knows that +1 was probably getting researched well, and which is almost completed, actually, so that's going to be a huge help. This will actually boost up the Immortal damage. I think it's up to 55 after the +1 weapons, so that's going to be a huge help, especially with this growing Immortal count. And we do see a robotics facility, or sorry, robotics bay coming down for Anapop, so that means Colossus going to be on the way in the near future. We do see the first Colossus for Makomi coming out, so Makomi did a very good job quickly teching up to those Colossus, so that will mean if Makomi can hit another timing, he will be up in his Colossus count. Or actually, no, I take that back. If Makomi can delay any pushes from Anapop with a huge Immortal count, he will be ahead in the Colossus count, rather, and will eventually be able to just out DPS those Immortals. Now we do see Makomi doing a very good job keeping up in that worker counting station. We see 39 to 43 workers, so despite Anapop having this extra nexus, he's not constantly making workers out of them, and it looks like actually he might have actually halted probe production for now. So that again is going to give Makomi the chance to reproduce and catch up on that workers count. So we're going to have to see whether or not Anapop can do a lot of damage. It looks like Anapop wants to put on a big pressure attack, as probably going to move out with maybe 2 Colossus, I would imagine. We do see thermal landscaping upgrade or research, as well as that first Colossus coming close to popping. We do see the second Colossus, however, coming close to popping for Makomi. But you have to remember, this is a very stalker-heavy army, as well as these Colossus being in the mix. That means that these Immortals are going to do a lot of damage. Again, with that, yep, 55 damage. That's going to actually really, really hurt. Now, one thing you do have to remember, though, is that despite Makomi being the Masters League player, he does have that disadvantage of having to kill off a bunch of his workers if he moves out to attack. But if he gets attacked himself, he doesn't have to kill off any workers. That's actually going to be a huge win. When Anapop does decide to attack, he wants to make sure that he does either a lot of damage or completely kills Makomi, because otherwise he's going to be completely trading his army unnecessarily without really gaining anything out of it, because otherwise he could just wait for Makomi to attack him instead, and then Makomi would be down in workers. Now we do see a Templar Archives being built for Makomi, so that will mean he's looking to get those Archons out. Those Archons will definitely help. Here it is. Those Archons will definitely help to soak up some of that damage from those Immortals I was talking about before. Now, interesting thing is that we don't see many Zealots in either of these players' mixes, so neither of them really opting to go for that Zealot charge. I think that Makomi, oh actually no, Makomi does have that Zealot charge research, but not quite opting to get the Zealots, at least not yet. Maybe going to be looking to do those later, but we do see a hidden third Nexus from Anapop, so that's going to be very, very sneaky. I'm not sure if Makomi is actually going to find that anytime soon. Now, Anapov also is doing this tricky little thing, using one stalker to knock down these rocks. If the stalker gets caught off guard, he's going to end up dying. But Makomi... Oh, did he already... Makomi... Did he kill off his workers? I actually did not see that or catch that. But he is... I do believe he did kill off his workers because he was producing workers constantly, and actually still is. And we can see, even though they are even in the counts, Anapov stopped making workers quite a while ago. So that is going to mean that this army is going to collide with this army over at Anapov's base. Can Anapov defend? He's going to be at a very good position with this high ground vision, or high ground position, but it looks like all the stalkers very clumped up for both sides. The Guardian Shield gets taken down from Makomi. The Colossus count a little bit higher from Makomi, especially with this reinforcing stalker. The stalkers count for Anapov much, much higher though, so it looks like he might be able to soak up all these shots from Makomi's Colossus count. Makomi's Colossus count getting completely decimated now with no more gateway units to tank the damage. And it looks like Anapov's going to take the lead with the higher Colossus count and the higher gateway count, also picking off a couple of Makomi's retreating stalkers. Now Anapov looking like to be in a very, very good position to take this game. We can see here again this third expansion already up for Anapov. Makomi trying to take his expansion, but again, not really going to have a chance to, as this army is walking straight across the map. Now, one other thing that, again, my co-caster Curtis has mentioned is that we saw +1 being researched for Anapov, so that +1 really paying off. That means that those Colossus, all of the Colossus, are doing splash damage upgrade, or upgraded damage. So that means that that upgrade affects every single unit that's hit for that Colossus. Now it looks like these Colossus are going to be able to take out a couple of these Zealots, but they're going to have a little bit of a hard time against these Archons, who are taking quite a bit of the damage. But unfortunately for Makomi, there's just no DPS. The probes now getting massacred for Makomi, down to just 31, now down 20 workers, and it looks like that is going to be game. So Anapov taking the throne from Makomi, taking him out with that very, very well defended push from Makomi. And yeah, the higher Colossus count is definitely going to work out in this game. So let's go ahead and update this. I'm actually going to go with most recent victory is going to be the current reigning champion. So Anapov, congratulations, you are now the current reigning champion. So that does mean you will be invited back for the next game. And let's see. Actually, you know what? Bronze Zerg, that sounds like fun. Let's try this. Alright. OGS Delaware. Clearly on Team Old Generations. So let's go with Entomb Valley. Entomb Valley sounds like a fun map. And I think that is a 4-player map. 4-player map? Entomb Valley. Here we go. Entomb Valley! Sorry, it's VVV's Xenocide. Don't worry, the picks are for the most part pretty random, guys. And of course, I will be doing a lot of these, so do not fret, do not frown. Turn that frown upside down. I'm not very good at rhyming. I can steal rhymes from other people. I'm really good at that, actually. I'm really good at stealing from other people, guys. But anyways, we are going to see a diamond level Protoss, or random player, sorry, a diamond level random player up against the Terran, and I believe he is bronze, but his most played race is Zerg. Okay, yeah, there, he has switched to Zerg. So let's go ahead and look up on the chart exactly what that means for our resident diamond level player who's going to have his restriction imposed. It's going to be, you cannot make more than 12 workers per base, and you may not leave your base until the 7-minute mark. Now, what that will mean is that, well, first of all, I'll say that at the 7-minute mark, I will be trying to pay attention. I will be looking for that, and I will announce to all the players that that is in fact the case, that the 7-minute mark has passed. So, what that means is Anapov is going to have pretty much free reign for about, OGS Delaware is going to have free reign on the map for the most part for a good 7 minutes. So he has 7 minutes to build up the best army he can. And once he does that, Anapov, with his 12 workers per base, is going to have to try and overcome whatever army and advantage that OGS Delaware has basically accumulated, while still maintaining that handicap of 12 mining workers per base. And that does include your gas geysers. So that means that if you have 2 gas geysers being taken on a base, that's 6 workers in gas. You can only mine minerals with 6 workers. So a little bit of a hard one over there. But anyways, that is in fact going to be the restriction. And let's go ahead and see if the players are ready. OGS Delaware is my roommate, apparently. Anyways, let's go ahead and check if the players are ready. Again, this is going to be in Tomb Valley, and I think I actually have... Yeah, in Tomb Valley. So this is the map I was talking about, in case you weren't aware. I'm actually very bad at remembering a lot of the Blizzard maps. It took me a very long time to remember which one was Antigua Shipyard. But it looks like all the players are ready, so let's go ahead and get this game started. This again is going to be Anapov, the diamond level random player, against OGS Delaware, the bronze level Zerg. Oop, there we go. The game is getting loaded up. We're going to have to see where these players spawn. And Anapov was actually asking me a very interesting question. Oh, but we'll get to that question in a second. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner of Tomb Valley, we have the pink eyeshadow Zerg. He's a bronze level player, and he has to utilize the handicap on his opponent to win this game. Can he do it? His name is OGS Delaware. And his opponent went as random and spawned as Zerg. So it's going to be another mirror matchup. He's going to be spawning as the blue Zerg in this game. He is the current reigning champion of balance battles with 1 victory over the Master League player Makomi. Can he overcome his handicap of only being able to mine 12 workers per base and not moving out until the 7-minute mark? His name is Anapov. So again, that does mean that Anapov can only make 2 more workers, and then he has to expand if he wants to make any more workers. So it's going to be a really rough situation, and we can already see OGS Delaware in the same position. Oh no! Oh no! Anapov! Anapov! You have 13 workers. Only 12 per base. Oh, that is true. Okay, if he's not going to mine with it, that is fair. Oh, where is his last drone then? I don't actually... Oh, here it is. So it looks like... this drone from Anapov is going to go ahead and move out. He is, in fact, going to scout in the wrong position first, as he does look for the bottom left-hand corner. OGS Delaware going to be relying on this drone to go ahead and scout out his opponent. Now, it looks like this drone will... Yes, it will, in fact, remember to go ahead and look for this spawning pool. He's going to see the timing on this spawning pool, if he is, in fact, paying attention. And going to throw down, or does have that spawning pool going ahead and building himself. So we're going to have to see. It looks like OGS Delaware does want to probably defend against this much earlier spawning pool. So we're going to have to see how much damage... Oh, actually, no. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a... I completely forgot. Oh, sorry, guys. Anapov cannot move out until the 7-minute mark. So actually... Oh. I'm actually not sure what's going on with this game, because I think Anapov is moving out with these 3 workers. You know what? I'm actually going to check the technicality of this rule. You may not leave your base for 7 minutes. You know, I'm actually going to let this slide for this game because I did make a bit of a mistake. Oh, and actually we do see an expansion. Oh! Okay, so Anapop clearly paying very close attention to the rule set. So what the rule is that you cannot leave your base until the 7-minute mark. So what Anapop goes ahead and says is, well, my base is over here. I'm just going to take the natural of my opponent. What's wrong with that? Oh no, Anapop lagging out, but that will give me time to catch up on exactly what's going on with this, guys. Sorry. But Anapop's saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to make this my base, so that's fine. I'm not going to leave my opponent's natural. So now OGS Delaware, having pulled all of his drones to try and kill off that hatchery that did end up getting canceled, but he does have this other hatchery being built. Oh no, Anapop starting to lag out, unfortunately. But I do think that OGS Delaware is going to have to put on some big pressure on this base to make sure that he can shut it down and stop Anapop from being able to expand here. Otherwise, Anapop will have such a close distance once the 7-minute mark hits to start rallying units over. Now again, let's do one quick check. Okay, we do see 8 and then 4, so that is 12 workers. So he is doing this all off of just 12 workers on that mining base. Now we do see a couple of Zerglings coming in. This is considered just a defense for Anapop right now. So Anapop is defending his opponent's natural from his opponent and does manage to clean up with this good Zergling count, a slightly higher Zergling count, and we do see a couple of drones being transferred over. So again, the rule is that these drones cannot be mining, so he can produce enough drones. He can hit 12 drones instantly and then instantly Maynard them over to his new base. Now we do see this hatchery popping up for Anapop. Wouldn't be too surprised. There are the spine crawlers. Those are going to be very difficult. Oh my god, is that a wall off? Wow. Wow. Anapop doing the wall off against his opponent. He doesn't quite get it down and is forced to cancel, but a very, very scary thing. As a lot of players do know, a lot of Protoss players love to wall off their Zerg opponents and stop them from really being able to effectively defend their expansion. But Anapop saying, hey, I can do that as Zerg, and you know what? I know exactly how much a Zerg would actually hate to have their ramp walled off by a hatchery and 2 spine crawls. I don't think I've ever seen that before. We do see Anapop being able to finally move up as the 7-minute mark has passed. And I guess I don't really need to tell him that, as he should know that now. Yep. So Anapop, paying very close attention to the timer, is going to know exactly when to move up. And does have this spine crawler positioned very, very aggressively. Now I really think that OGS Delaware is going to have a hard time breaking out, but he does have that roach horn. He does have a baneling nest coming out, so likely going to be seeing a couple of these being morphed into banelings, as well as some roaches being produced in the near future. We do see a spine crawler coming up over here though, and you know, one thing that he can do is if he can stop any Zerglings from coming up immediately on his ramp, he will have the high ground advantage, so we'll be able to use the spine crawler over here to pick off this spine crawler on the low ground. But we see such a fearsome number of Zerglings from Anapop, and he will be actually not. Oh my god, is he going to expand to his opponent's third? Anapop, that's just mean. Meanwhile, we do see, oh wow, another expansion being taken from Anapop. He is already mining over here. Oh, we did see some banelings hitting quite a few Zerglings. Some very good hits on the drone count and the Zerglings from OGS Delaware, nullifying quite a few of Anapop's workers, now bringing down the drone count to just about 7. So Anapop is going to have to go ahead and remake those, but he does have a good amount of money for that. He does probably want to spend some of that larva, though, on additional Zerglings, and potentially we'll have to see if he does decide to start mining gas at any point in the near future. He does have that gas geyser over there. And oh, actually the Zerglings from OGS Delaware, pretty overwhelming in number, does also have that speed upgrade that Anapop does not have, as the Anapop has only barely just begun mining gas, but it looks like the Zergling count for Anapop just a little bit too high. So OGS is Delaware. Oh my god, no! Okay, there we go. Now with those Zerglings popping, Anapop will be able to defend his opponent's natural, and that's actually a lot of fun to say. It looks like additional Zerglings being produced. We haven't seen any roaches, and I really feel that roaches would be a great thing to make in this situation for OGS Delaware. He does have that upgrade, and that will allow him to do things like get a great choke against these Zerglings, and eventually even be able to pick off some of these spine crawlers, get a better... He doesn't have to worry about getting a good surface area necessarily on that spine crawler. But for now, it looks like OGS Delaware are just going to stick with Zerglings and Banelings. Meanwhile, we do see this expansion starting to get a little bit more saturation. We do see just, well, four guys on gas over in Anapob's, over in OGS Delaware's natural expansion. That is so weird to say. We do see quite a few Banelings moving down. Actually, oh no! Getting hit, used on the... Oh, hold on. I'll come back to that in a second. The Banelings actually get used on the hatchery, but it looks like there was a spine crawler built in OGS Delaware's base. Thank you, Curtis, for catching that. Wow, so might have done a little bit of damage. We do see, I guess, 3 drones were in fact killed for Anapob, so a little bit of a hit to the economy. But again, Anapob does have quite a few bases built. And again, additional Zerglings being produced, and really the drone count for OGS Delaware, it almost seems as though he believes that he can't make more than 12 drones per base. And I'm a little bit worried for OGS Delaware, as I feel like he really does need to produce more drones if he wants to either like start producing additional roaches, or he has to just start making the roaches and Banelings right now and bust out of this, as being contained over here has just been so difficult for OGS Delaware. Now, again, we do see this expansion is back up and mining at almost 12 workers. It's up to 10. Meanwhile, this expansion over here also up to 10 workers. And finally, it looks like OGS Delaware looking to move down, but does get surrounded. Ooh, the hold position from Anapob, trying to stop all of OGS Delaware's overcommitted Zerglings from running too far down. But looks like the Zerglings are going to go in, and there is the good game for OGS Delaware. Looks like he does not feel like he can win anymore, knowing that he cannot leave his expansion. So a very interesting game. I'll put it at interesting. It was a little bit of an unexpected game. Might have to revise a couple of rules there. I'm not sure how... I'm actually really curious. So go ahead. That's actually a great point. You guys can go ahead and comment on the Team Liquid thread. Anything that you think you find, oh, well, this strategy just seemed ridiculous. It wasn't fun to watch, or it just didn't seem very fair. Go ahead and leave those comments in the Team Liquid thread. Hopefully, one of my mods, like my co-caster Curtis, can go ahead and post that. The link to the Team Liquid thread. But anyways, that is going to put Anapob at a 2-0 victory. So let's go ahead and update this. Anapob leading as the reigning champion, now hitting the amazing 2 victories against his bronze level opponent, OGS Delaware, with that very interesting, I'm going to take my opponent's natural and then defense it. So I think that White Rob would be very proud. But anyways, we are going to go ahead and get the next game going. So looks like my chat channel is a little bit bugged. Oh, there we go. And I think that VVV Xenocide was the first one that did want to play after OGS Delaware. So let's go ahead and pick a map. And thank you so much, Curtis, for posting that link. And let's go ahead and see. Let's try Shakura's Plateau. Yeah, let's go with Shakura's Plateau. Or actually, yeah. And actually, I do believe that VVV Xenocide was in fact a bronze level player. Let's try and get it. Let's get a new matchup and test out a couple of the other rules. Okay. Who wants to play? Preferably non-bronze. Sorry, VVV Xenocide. Next game. I just want to try and get a couple different matchups in here. So Anapop, you are in fact invited back for the next game. Co-caster, of course, is invited to be the spectator because he clearly points out all the different things that I completely just miss. So you guys should really thank Curtis. Even when he's not casting with me, he's helping me cast. So looks like, oh, actually I invited VVV Xenocide. Sorry, okay. I will invite you for another game later, VVV Xenocide. But I think we had a different person. Ialgo. He's going to go ahead and join this game, as he is in fact not bronze. He's currently in platinum, so that is going to mean the diamond versus platinum rule. So what that is, let's go ahead and pull that up. You may not exceed 150 supply. So that's actually going to be a pretty rough handicap for Anapop. Anapop's going to have to overcome that one. Anapop, you cannot exceed 150 supply. Alright, that means everything else is game. This is going to be a diamond level player. That is going to be Anapop that you've seen in the past 2 games versus the platinum level Zerg player, Ialgo. So we're going to have to see, can Ialgo take advantage of this handicap? He is going to be the Zerg player in this game, so hopefully, well, I think actually this handicap is especially harmful to some of the Zerg players. So we're going to have to see what Anapop ends up randoming. Alright, and we're going to have to go ahead and see if our players are ready. Alright, looks like the players are in fact ready, so let's go ahead and get the game started. Alright, and again, if you guys have any comments on the some of the rules or anything that you think wasn't very entertaining to watch, maybe some things were more entertaining to watch, go ahead and leave that in the Team Liquid thread that is in the chat. Go ahead and click that Curtis posted. Anyways, we are going to go ahead and jump into this game. It is going to be a diamond level random player versus a platinum level Zerg player on Shakura's Plateau. So over here in the bottom left hand corner, we have the platinum Zerg. His name is Ialgo. And his opponent, the one with the handicap, is going to be the blue Zerg, who actually was going random. So again, we're going to see another mirror matchup. Don't you guys just love mirror matchups? I love mirror matchups. His name is Anapop, currently leading in the balance battles as the 2-0 victor. And I'm going to stop saying 2-0 because I'm not going to remember how many games people have lost pretty soon. But anyways, he is leading as the 2-win victor. Anyways, at the same time, we are going to see both these players open up with pretty similar builds. As for right now, I do believe that both of these players will be pretty much doing very similar things. It's going to be a very normal game up until the mid to late game. So really, I think this handicap will only really play a big part if Ialgo can bring this out to the late game. Now, Ialgo does have that knowledge that his opponent does have that handicap, so if he can try and stall this out to a late game situation, where either playing very defensively, not really overcommitting to any attacks, and can just survive and force his opponent to play a later game, he can then take that advantage. Now we do see a hatchery first from Anapop, so this is going to be a slightly riskier play, but I do think that this is a little bit more common on this map, as it is a little bit more of an economic map. It is a pretty big map as well. At the same time, Ialgo going for that pool first, so Ialgo going to be looking to put on a lot of aggression. Now Ialgo sending out his own drone, so it looks like he might actually be looking to just take his own expansion as well. So maybe not going to be looking to put on too much aggression, not going to be trying to go with any kind of one base all in with lots of Zerglings and Banelings. Just going to be looking to expand for now. Now that these players have decided to take their gas geysers, though, as the gas geysers are very important in this matchup, it tells when you're either deciding to go for those Banelings, those Roaches, Speedlings, when are you going to research all of that? Oh, we do see the spine crawler from Ialgo getting position, but it does get spotted by Anapop. So Anapop's going to go ahead and put 2 drones on that spine crawler. This spine crawler is actually not really losing health. It's losing about 5 health every couple of seconds, but now with these additional drones put on, it will finally force this spine crawler to either be canceled. Hopefully Ialgo does remember to cancel it. There's the cancel. So it does waste a little bit of mining time from Anapop, a nice little play, but Ialgo is currently supply blocked with no overlords on the way, so that's actually going to be a little bit harmful. Meanwhile, we do see the gas guys are now being taken for Ialgo, so probably going to be looking to get either that speed pretty soon. Meanwhile, we do see gas just almost getting up to 100 for Anapop. That does mean he will be able to get his Speedling research going in the near future. And there it is. So now Speedling is going to be researched. And it looks like he is going to continue to leave guys on gas. That does probably mean he's going to be looking to do some kind of Baneling play or maybe some Roach play. We're going to have to wait and see. Maybe he's just saving it up for some Lair Tech, but we do see a couple of Zerglings from Ialgo. A good number, actually, outnumbering Anapop, so we're going to have to see how much damage he can do. The Spine Crawler is going to finish, so that will put a bit of an end to any harassment that can go on over here at the Natural, but it looks like these Zerglings are losing quite a bit of their health. They finally do all get picked off, and it looks like, wow, good control from, they're pretty good control from Anapop. Oh, that's Ialgo's Spine Crawler, so Ialgo really a fan of Spine Crawlers, wow. Did not even notice that. These colors are very similar when it comes to buildings. But Anapop only really losing 1 drone there and a couple of Zerglings, so a pretty good win for Anapop. Ialgo does let that Spine Crawler finish and does end up losing the drone as well as the Spine Crawler that was involved in making it. So Anapop is going to go ahead and move across the map. We do see a Baneling nest on the way for Anapop. Meanwhile, we don't see any tech down for Ialgo. Just going to be sticking with those Zerglings and that speed once it finally does get finished researching. Now these Zerglings do manage to pick off Anapop's scouting Zerglings. But, you know, Anapop got a very good count on the number of Zerglings that Ialgo had, and that's a very big and important factor. As, you know, sometimes you can't get a great scout off in the main base of your opponent, but that's fine. I can just get a very good count on how many units you have. And based on that, I can pretty much guess where you have invested all of your resources. Now we do see a couple of Banelings being produced. Where are the Banelings being produced? Looks like they're being produced in the mineral line, but the Zerglings are going to run straight into the main. The speed is going to be finishing up for Ialgo in just a second. Let's see how much damage can be done. The Queen is going to be picked off very fast. Oh no, the Banelings! The Banelings! Ah! A pretty good hit. There are a couple more Banelings left alive. Ialgo doing an okay job trying to split up his Zerglings and does... actually managed to waste a few of those Zerglings and does manage to keep a couple more of Ialgo's Zerglings alive, so we will be able to do some good damage. We can see here in the Workers Lost tab, oh wow, good micro from Anapop. Only happens to lose 2 workers so far. So he's in a very good position, and Anapop, well actually no, wow, Ialgo really faking me out there, thinking that, or making it look like he actually didn't do that much damage, but he does manage to get a huge drone lead. Now we do see that Anapop is finally catching up in that drone count. He just skyrocketed up about 8 or 9 drones. So Anapop is going to go ahead and catch up, but the one thing that Anapop does have going for him is he does have that Baneling nest. Meanwhile, we don't see any tech out for Ialgo just yet. We don't see any lair. We do see some gas being mined, but again, no Roach Warren, no Baneling Nest. He does have quite a few Spine Crawlers. There is the Roach Warren, as well as a couple more Zerglings being produced. These Zerglings just going to go ahead and scout out his opponent. We do actually see 2 Zerglings over here scouting out his opponent as well. So he's going to see how much he does end up seeing. He will actually see that gas guys are being taken, so that will also be a little bit of a tell on exactly what's going on. The Roach Warren getting pretty close to finishing up, as well as this Macro Hatchery. So this Macro Hatchery will be... It's actually, I really like this placement for this Macro Hatchery. It will combine and merge the creep for Ialgo, as well as allow him that additional unit production with that additional larva. But there we do see the Spire going down, so Ialgo should be a little bit tipped off, as he did see that the lair was finished over here at the Natural. And he did also see this gas guys are being taken. If he was paying attention, I think he should have also seen Yep, he did see all 4 gas geysers having been taken, so that is a pretty big tell of, a muta going player. So Ialgo needs to make sure that he does react properly to this. He does have some evolution chambers that he can start beginning researching upgrades once he does get the gas, but that will also mean that he can build spore crawlers, which is going to be very, very helpful, as he's going to have to defend against those Mutalisks with spore crawlers and queens. And it's going to be really interesting to see if he decides to put on any big aggression in the near future, as that spider is going to be finishing up very, very soon. But we do see quite a few spine crawlers already down for Anapop, and more going down. So anticipating that there is going to be that push with these Zerglings, he did get that scout off on exactly the army composition. And actually does get some money scout off on exactly where everything is at. He does know that there is a lair tech over here. He did see the entirety of the creep, so he knows that there is in fact no spire or anything of the sort quite yet for Ialgo. Now we do see constant scouting just going on between both of these players. Ialgo does have a good vision to see when that third will be taken. Would like to see this Overlord, or at least an Overlord, move over here to make sure that nothing's over there. But again, we do see a couple of mutas in production as that Spire has finally finished up. Now finally also beginning those upgrades for Ialgo. He is going to have that +1/+1 for these roaches, as well as that roach speed, so he can do a lot of damage. And one thing that's great about Mutalisks is that, roaches can't really attack them. Roaches don't really attack air units. I don't know if you knew that, guys. But one other thing that roaches are good against with when it comes to Mutalisks is that Mutalisks don't kill them very fast. Oh, Ialgo, very well positioned Zerglings, does get them scout off on those Mutalisks. And we do see 3-4 Spore Crawlers in production. So it looks like these Mutalisks did manage to pick off an Overlord. They did manage to, or 2, they did manage to supply block Ialgo, but quite a few queens out, as well as the Spore Crawler. The Spore Crawler also going to get transfused back up. So these Mutalisks going to have to be forced to retreat for now. Meanwhile, we do see a 3rd and a 4th being taken by Anapop. He's going to use these Mutalisks to say, hey, if you try and move out, I have air units, so until you actually get something that can attack my air units, you can't really attack me. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a 3rd and a 4th safely. And I really do like this play from Anapop. But again, we are reaching that point where eventually Anapop is going to be restricted by that 150 supply cap. So it is good that he is playing this very macro-oriented style right now, where he's going for the 3rd and 4th base. But he does have to keep in mind, actually good harassment going down here. Lots of Overlords getting potentially picked off. And it looks like it will almost supply block Ialgo. We'll put him into a bit of an annoying position where he has to produce a couple additional Overlords. But as I was saying, Ialgo is starting to get up to 101 supply. And oh my god, actually, wow, Ialgo has a lot of queens, actually. We can come here in the unit counting station. Ialgo already has 4 queens, producing an additional 3, and getting that infestation pit. Now, the infestation pit is a pretty clear indication that he's trying to deal with these Mutalisks. The massive queen count is a very interesting play, though, and I think that that might be for defense against the Mutalisk harassment. We're going to have to see if he does decide to move out with some of those queens in the battle. We do also see Burrow being researched and additional Mutalisks being researched or produced for Anapop, as well as that +1 weapons upgrade. Now we do see continued aggression with these Mutalisks, making sure that Ialgo is in fact pinned back to this base. Now, again, as I was saying before, Ialgo has to get out those infestors before he can really move out on the map. These queens are going to be great for defending against any of this Mutalisk harassment. We can see here they're doing quite a bit of damage along with these Spore Crawlers. Wow, I think that Anapop might be overcommitting just a little bit, not really doing an insane amount of damage. We can see here, again, not really killing off too many. Oh, picking up the infestation pit would be a huge amount of damage. We do see 7 investors on the way, though. Did the energy complete, though? I actually didn't get a chance to see that. We do see the infestors now popping, not quite rallying straight over to start fungling those Mutalisks, but it looks like, oh no, the fungal growth or the starting energy for those infestors did not complete. So that's going to be a huge loss for Ialgo. He's going to wait for those infestors to finally build up that energy count. And it looks like we do see that very well positioned Overseer from Anapop. So he's going to see all of these burrowed roaches moving their way very quietly across the map. Shh. don't see us. This Roach actually recovering health faster than it's taking any damage, but now with this huge Mutalisk flock coming in, he is going to have to retreat, as those Mutalisks would just get a lot of free kills. Now, one thing that's getting pretty scary for Anapop is that he is nearing that 150 supply mark, but again, he does have this 3rd and 4th base. That means that once he starts mining out of these 5th and 6th gas geysers, he's going to have a very scary and very easily reproducible army. So even though he won't have as large of an army, he will be able to reproduce it much more easily than Iago. So we're going to see if Iago can overcome that. Can Iago get some money fungals to kill off that Mutalisk flock very cost efficiently? We're going to have to wait and see. Now again, Anapop can produce about 25 more supply of units, so he has to be very careful. A lot of his units... Oh! We do see actually a nice little harassment from Iago. One Roach just killing off a couple of workers. Let's see, he did manage to kill off about 2 workers, so not a bad trade. Does manage to also get out that scout to see that that expansion is in fact down. He does not know about this expansion though, and that's really might come back to haunt Iago, unless he decides to push out with this massive number of Queens, Roaches, and Infestors. Completely hard countering Anapop's current army, but Anapop now finally basically almost hitting the limit on what he can produce. He is going to go ahead and wisely start to use that money that he has saved up to produce spine crawlers. That's going to make it much more difficult for Iago to really do any damage. Now we do see again the Mutalisks, they see the Roaches moving out, so are they going to start doing a little bit of damage? No, deciding they're going to play it a little bit safe. Probably don't want to get caught off guard by the Infestors that are trailing behind, as well as these very slow Queens. These Queens are just going to take forever. By the time Iago gets over to his opponent's base, he is probably going to be maxed. That's a little bit sad. But anyways, these Roaches are going to start to get picked off. And oh my god, the fungal growth! Can he chain them? Can he chain them? He's chaining them so well right now. All of these Mutalisks might die. That's so many Mutalisks. That's almost 23 Mutalisks. And all of them die! That's so painful! Wow, the Mutalisk count completely reset down to just 2. I was with 5 reproducing. But we do have to remember that Anapop does have these 4 bases to start reproducing things out of. He does have the larva count to reproduce them from. He also has the drone count. So I mean, he's not in a terrible position. We do see a couple more Mutalisks out, and they are doing a little bit of harassment. They're target firing these Infestors, and I do love that play. But these Queens being a money investment for Iago. Now the Roaches trying to move in, coming up against a hard wall of spine crawlers. Wow! So very well played by Anapop, knowing that he can't exceed 150 supply. But you know, these spine crawlers and the spore crawlers do not take up supply. But it looks like we do see quite a few transfusions going down. We do see a couple of fungal growths going down as well, and it's going to be very scary. We do see the armor upgrade, or the upgrades for Iago's Roaches up at 2-1. I don't think that it's 0-0 for Anapop, as he was investing all that gas into producing those Mutalisks. And we see now Infested Terrans going down. I'm not sure. Is he going to be able to break it? Iago is constantly reproducing additional Roaches. He is also producing... oh wow, actually 2 more hatcheries going down for Anapop. Looks like he wants more larvae, but we are going to see these evolution chambers potentially get picked off as well. That's really going to hurt, especially since Anapop is already so behind in the upgrades. We do see these Infested Terrans doing quite a bit of damage, but finally the spine crawlers do manage to pick off the remainder of Iago's army over there. But again, he is going to go ahead and lose this 3rd expansion over here. A couple Infested Terrans being lobbed out. Not sure how necessary that was, but still fun to see. These Infested Terrans are going to help kill off a couple of these broodlings, I guess. But meanwhile, we do see, again, we have to remember, there is this base over here. So that does mean Anapop is in a very good position. But Iago is already mined out at his main. He's getting very close to mined out at his natural. We can see here, these mineral fields are dwindling so gosh darn fast. So Iago's going to have a hard time reproducing his army as this game goes on until he takes another expansion. And now, finally, it looks like he is taking that 3rd expansion over there. Well, Anapop actually deciding he's going to expand onto his opponent's side of the map and take that expansion, so that will replace the expansion that he just lost. But again, Iago is starting to get up that big army. I would like to see Iago try and Oh wow, again, a lot of queens. Now we have to go ahead and take a look at the unit counting station and see what Anipob's army is like. Currently, it looks like it's just 33 roaches against 36 roaches, but these roaches are better upgraded. On the other hand, there are these spine crawlers, and that is going to hurt Ialgo's chances. But these roaches actually catching a lot of the queens off guard. Now Ialgo coming in for the defense on the queens and going to be able to pick off quite a few of Anipob's roaches. I'm not sure how this battle is going to end up going. I think that Ialgo is going to be able to clean up all of Anipob's roaches, but a very good concave for Anipob. Ialgo starting to get a slightly better concave, but now finally being able to pick off all of these roaches just with high numbers and a better upgrade count, as well as a couple of queens marching in as well. Now these roaches are going to run away, and this is such a smart decision. Anipob running away and delaying Ialgo from pushing at his front. He knows that as long as his economy is pumping, he can continue to just do better and better and get a better economy and eventually reproduce back up to 150, which is going to be his max supply. Now we do still see Lair Tech sitting for both of these players. So we don't see any Hive Tech coming down quite yet. We don't see any interest in Broodlords. I think that both of these players really just fighting to, Ialgo fighting to do damage and Anipob fighting to survive. Now these roaches can do so much damage right over here. I think that they picked off an amazing number of drones. And wow, this game is in fact insane, I agree, but these roaches are going to be forced back from Ialgo despite the higher upgrades. There's just too many roaches here from Anipob, so Ialgo is going to go back and retreat to this new third that is going to just start mining now. But Anipob does have this expansion up, he does have this fourth and a fifth up now, so Anipob just deciding, hey, if I can't make more than 150 supply in units, I'm just gonna make a lot of hatcheries and expand a lot and just be able to instantly replenish my army as soon as I lose it. So very interesting and smart decision. We do see the infestation pit going down for Anipob. Where is it? But what that will mean is not only will you be able to get those infestors, as we already see now Ialgo is getting that pathogen glands upgrade that was cancelled oh so long ago in this game. Oh, hold that thought, there is a battle going down. It looks like Ialgo's roaches will be able to clean this up with these superior upgrades, I believe. Oh, actually no, it looks like Anipob now sitting at 2-2, so he's caught up and surpassed Ialgo in that upgrade count. So looks like still Ialgo manages to clean up with those infestors, laying down those fungal growths, and wow, very good defense by Ialgo. But I was saying before, Ialgo now finally getting those pathogen glands, so he will be able to reproduce those infestors, and now it looks like Anipob, having gotten that infestation pit, now going to start teching to lair. So we are going to probably be seeing Broodlords, maybe some potentially Ultralisk, but oftentimes we do hear a lot of players joke saying the only time they make Ultralisk is when they have a lead and they want to throw it away. Anipob, producing quite a few roaches, is going to be able to potentially hold off any additional aggression, as he, again, still has those spine crawlers, still has the rocking economy that he does have from these 4 bases. Most importantly, from these gas geysers, that's really going to help him out when he does finally end up getting those the corruptors out and starts trying to make those broodlords. And looks like Anipob continuing to produce additional roaches, getting that +2 flyer attack, so I'm really starting to think that this is going to be a Broodlord transition. As, well, actually it's going to be a little bit interesting just because this upgrade is going to be researching for an additional 90 seconds before he can really start that Greater Spire, despite the fact that the Hive is just now completing, and there it is. At the same time, we do see Hive being researched for Ialgo. Ialgo is down on bases though. He's only mining on this one base, and that's going to be so difficult for him to deal with. He's going to have to macro up a 200 army off of this one base. Meanwhile, Anipob, sitting at exactly 150 supply, will be able to do a lot of aggression now. He does again have those 2-2 upgrades going for the +3/+3, while Ialgo has kind of neglected his upgrades. He had a great position with those upgrades, getting them much earlier than his enemy, but now he's starting to fall behind, and those upgrades would be so important for Anipob, as, you know, having less units, having better upgrades means that those less units will do more. And it looks like there is going to be a great engagement for Anipob in terms of the concave, but so many fungals going down. on Anapob's roaches, and it looks like despite the superior concave for Anapob, these infestors are going to do an obscene amount of damage to Anapob's roaches. It's going to be so close. The superior upgrades are still laying in Anapob's favor, but it looks like Ialgo with the clutch fungal is going to be able to clean up so many of these roaches, and it looks like finally these 3 roaches will be trying to. Nope, looks like they were initially going to try and retreat, but then their commander told them that the infestors must die, so they sacrificed their life, not quite being able to get them. But again, this is what I was talking about before, Anapob being able to reproduce that army so well, already sitting back up at 24 roaches to 23. And again, with that +3/+3 going to be finishing up, and the potential to start getting that greater spire, there it is. He's going to be looking to be in such a great position, and now also starting to mine from this base over here. Man, Anapob is looking to be in a really good position to go 3, get his 3rd win in the balance battles. We do see this roach going ahead and grabbing that Zelnaga tower. These roaches moving around to do another attack. This time the infestors are a little bit further behind, so they aren't able to get the fungals off. Does manage to lose a couple of those roaches, Ialgo does. And these infestors might actually just go straight into the main base. A couple of them do get fungal growth and target fire down, but oh no, they're actually just going to run straight into the main. You might be able to target down a couple of the production buildings, including the infestation pit, which would be a huge loss. That will stop infestor production for quite a while. Looks like he is going to lose it. Unfortunately for Ialgo, there are no upgrades being researched, and Anapob does manage to see that. He does see that those evolution paper is not pulsating in any way, but these roaches, are gonna get cleaned up, so that does mean that Ialgo will have at least that as a win, despite losing his infestors. But we do see the brood lords. They're going to be produced in just a second. They're somewhere. They are somewhere. Where are you, broodlords? Well, we do see 3 broodlords being produced somewhere. So that is going to be very scary for Ialgo. Ialgo just does have his spire finish, but he doesn't, or sorry, his hive finish, but he does not have a spire. And ooh, these roaches actually were burrowed over here, and they are doing a little bit of additional harassment, as there is no overseer for Ialgo in anywhere nearby, at least. So these roaches are going to be so gosh damn annoying. And now we do finally see the overseer, so Ialgo's going to have to scout around his base to try and find those roaches. Now we do see a couple of infestors doing a little bit of harassment from Ialgo, but these drones do have burrow. I think the infestors will not be able to get this oh, will they get it? It's going to be so close. 12 hit points. Oh man, that's so painful for Ialgo. Ialgo probably, there we go, does want to send just a couple of units over and not bother with the drones. Target fire the hatchery. Ialgo, you have a couple of seconds. Target fire down the hatchery. Oh no, that's really rough. But we do see the broodlords. The broodlords don't make themselves revealed just quite yet. But actually, they are in fact revealed by the stray overlord over here. So looks like I think that those roaches. Nope, those roaches did not get cleaned up from Anapob, so very good job with those roaches. Going to be annoying as ever, likely going to be seeing some more harassment, maybe during the main battle when they can be maximum effectiveness. And we do see the broodlords out now, and they're going to be doing a huge amount of damage. The roach count for Anapob is a lot lower, so he will not be able to keep all these roaches alive unless he does use that burrow, which we did see. But it looks like Ialgo just deciding to hell with it. I'm going to lose all these roaches anyways. Let's see how many bases I can kill before he can kill my army. And Ialgo going to be in a very rough position after he loses this army. Oh no! Walking through an army of spine crawlers to a base that doesn't even exist. He's going to be able to escape with some of these roaches for a little bit, and does manage to kite these broodlords that move so gosh darn slow. We don't see those roaches unburrowing quite yet again. But we do see finally Ialgo gonna go ahead and make his stand over here. But again, there is no answer to this broodlords. We do see now the spires being produced for Ialgo, but it's so late. The broodlords also sitting at 2-1. So even when that spire does get produced, and he does have corruptors out to deal with those broodlords, he's just going to be so behind in upgrades. Even when he tries to get broodlords for himself, we do see a couple of infestors out, so that will help a little bit. Lobbing out some of those infested terrans will certainly help to deal with some anti-air, but Iago again sitting so far behind on bases, sitting far behind on army, sitting far behind on economy and in tech. And there we do see the infested Terran being lobbed out, but they're going to get cleaned up pretty gosh darn fast by these roaches. A couple of infestors joining the mix for Anapop, and Iago's supply is now starting to plummet. So it looks like Anapop is looking to be in such a good position to take this game. Game 4, or sorry, yeah, I think this is game 4 of the balance battles. Wow, guys, yeah, this has been a pretty crazy game. Iago did manage to do some good aggression over here with these roaches. Did manage to take out that expansion. Actually, wow, wait. I don't think Anapop isn't really mining anywhere anymore. Well, he is mining from over here, but again, it's still a very difficult position for Iago. He doesn't have... He himself is no longer mining, really. Just doing this long-distance mining. And actually... Oh, barely managed to keep that roach alive. But I mean, he's lost his entire army for the most part. He does have a couple of corruptors coming out, so they will be able to deal a little bit of damage to those broodlords. But again, some corruptors out for Anapop already. Does also have those infestors. Also has those air upgrades, those 3-1 air upgrades. So likely going to be seeing that GG pretty soon. And just as a side note, pretty good creep spread from Anapop. Already has his creep pretty much on almost all the way to Iago's base. Just one screen away from his old third. Now we do see Anapop moving in for the kill. A couple of Mutalisks actually. Wow, that's actually quite a few units. But I don't know how much damage they're going to be able to do. Wait, is there actually no... Okay, no, there is. The infestors do exist, so they can deal with those Mutalisks, and the corruptors will eventually get cleaned up. Sooner or later, they won't be able to do too much more damage. They have only 3 left now against these quite a few infestors, and they will maybe be able to pick off one of these broodlords. But there is the GG finally, and that is going to put Anapop 3-0 in balance battles. So very well played. Very interesting game, too. We did see Anapop really making sure that he basically just constantly went out and attacked. Once he hit 150 supply, he knew that he either would take advantage of something, either try and take advantage of a higher roach count, or trying to just out-expand his opponent. That was really the biggest thing, I think, that happened in that game, was Anapop getting those Mutalisks out, being able to take that third base really quickly and that fourth base, and then being able to hold off Iago's big 2-base pressure. And that's actually going to be it for a good 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. You guys can enjoy some more music from Tempo StarCraft. And yeah, hope you guys will stick around, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Thanks.